See, if your mind is so powerful, man, that it can create a whole person based on just two things: the tone of the voice and the words. Think how powerful your mind is and instrumental in creating an image for your success or lack of success. Welcome back, or welcome to another edition of the Sales Life. Episode 501. It's like a good pair of jeans, man. I don't even know if they make those anymore, the 501 jeans. But episode 501. And like we always do, man, before we move forward, let's step back a little bit and recap yesterday's episode quickly. Yesterday's episode, man, was heavy. And it came from Mark Metry's book, Screw Being Shy. And the question that he asked was, when's the last time that you've taken responsibility over everything in your life? The good and the bad. And one reason why I like to recap the episodes is because after I do them, I think of things that I didn't really drive home. And one point that I did not drive home was the operative word over. See, when you say, when's the last time you've taken responsibility for everything in your life? Well, the for part that's where people equate responsibility and fault. So when you say, when's the last time you've taken responsibility for everything in your life? Then that means that, well, some things, Marsh, weren't my fault. And that leaves you in, so when you have responsibility for, that detaches you from the responsibility. But when you say, when's the last time you've taken responsibility over everything in your life? Well, now you claim responsibility over. So take it like this. If you and I were driving, Jimbo, and you said, hey, Marsh, I'm tired, man. Why don't you take the wheel? And so if I take over the wheel and start driving, well, now I'm responsible for where we go. I'm responsible for the results. If somebody says, hey, take over the store today, well, it's my responsibility. It's on my watch, on my command. And the results are due to what I do and don't do. So when you take responsibility over your life, what you're doing is you're taking your control back. And now, just like driving a car, if I take over, now I can determine the results. And see, when I claim responsibility over everything, now I can change the things in my life. Now, many times, which leads me to today's episode, many times the reason why you don't take responsibility over things in your life is because you're playing to an image. And let me tell you how strong images are. Images are so strong. So case in point, you ever talk to somebody on the phone, and in that short conversation, 5-minute conversation, your mind just built a whole person on the phone. You have no idea what they even look like. But based on the tone of their voice and the words they said, you got a whole image of them. You know, you've determined their race, their weight, their height, their success level. You've determined all that in just one phone call. And then when you meet them, it's almost as if you're looking over their shoulder trying to get to the real person. Because the person that you see is not the person that you saw in your mind. You see how powerful that is? See, if your mind is so powerful, man, that it can create a whole person based on just two things: the tone of the voice and the words. Think how powerful your mind is and instrumental in creating an image for your success or lack of success. I just proved it to you. I just proved it to you because you just created a whole person based on one phone call. See, you're playing to an image. And the hardest thing for me to change, one of the hardest things for me to change, in creating my life, getting away from a toxic life, the hardest thing for me to change was the image. Because see, I kept sabotaging my success. Because see, even when I had some blip of extra success, I was successful, but I wasn't internally successful. I was riding on the inside. I looked from the outside, it looked like I had it going on. But from the inside, dude, I was dying. And so even when I started getting a little additional success, I always self-sabotage myself. I sabotage my success. I would do things that would knock myself down 2, 3, 4 rungs down the ladder. It's because I was playing to an image. I didn't realize it, man. And you may not even realize it. And the reason why you're not taking responsibility over your life is because you don't realize you're playing to an image. And so just like you've created that person that you've never met on the phone, you're creating that same mental mind frame of what your success looks like. And so if you don't change the image, then you'll never change the results. See, the image I was always playing to, dude, was the underdog. I always felt like I was not deserving. I was always last to be picked on the team. I was always, I just didn't feel like I belonged, man. And so even, like I said, even when I would get some sort of success, I didn't feel like I deserved it. So I would sabotage myself for it. It's hard to change an image, man. Because the only way that you're going to change it is with the tiny brushstrokes of effort. Reps, 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 reps. And some days, dude, it's almost as if you have to force the image in there. And you got to constantly feed an image that you want to play to. And it's monumental. It's hard. That's why you've got to be careful of the images that you feed yourself. Because if you're feeding yourself, if you see the negative, that's what you're going to eat, the negative. And then if you're seeing the negative, if you're playing to that image, then you're going to think to the image. You're going to speak to the image. You're going to act to the image. And the results are going to be because you play to the image. It's hard, man. Real hard. Let me trip you out. I have an image of walking on stage in front of thousands of people. And dude, I can see the stage. I can see the curtains. I can feel the lights. I can see the audience. But I can't see me. That's how powerful the images are. If at best, I can kind of see the back of me some days, and some days I can just see my feet. But in vivid detail, I cannot see my face. Not yet. And I've realized, dude, that I have to sort through millions and millions of images of my past, of my circumstances. I've got all those images in front. And so I got to fight through those images. That's why I can see, I can play to the image. See, I can see the stage. I can see the people. Sales life is worldwide. I know this. And that's the image I play to. Even though can't see me all the way in it yet. That's why the sales life is a workable image for me. The sales life, the podcast, has literally saved my life. Because what it does is, it's a workable image where I have to sit down every morning and I have to write page after page after page. It's a workable image. Even though, dude, I can't all the way see me where I want to be. I'm there. I know I'm there. I'm connected to some of the most powerful people in the world. I know this. And I can even see the person in that chair next to him. I'm somewhere in that chair. I just can't see it yet. But just because you can't see it doesn't mean you can't work toward it yet. So you got to play to an image. And I would rather play to an image. I'd rather play to an image, man, than settle for the old image and just accept mediocrity. And this is going to take a lot of work for you, man. This is why many people don't change, or they revert back to who they were, who they are, because you're playing to an image. And if you want to change the results, you got to change the image. And the images are free. They are. You can swap the images out at any time. But if you don't sometimes force the action and work toward that image, your mind is always going to revert back to old images. You're never good enough. You ain't going to amount to nothing. You're just like your daddy. You're just like your family. You won't graduate. You'll never be successful. All those images, man. But if you play to an image, man, I'm telling you, dude, it's going to come faster than what you think. It is. And some days, dude, it's going to be incredibly frustrating. And you're like, oh my God, I just don't. Some days you just don't see it. Play to it. Play to it. I think that's why people have vision boards. Vision boards give somebody an image that way they can play to. Even though they don't fully see themselves in that house yet, at least they can play to that image. The vision board doesn't really work for me. But I have, tell you what I play to. I play to the podcast, number one. And number two is I sit down every morning, I have 7 values. And I rail out one of my 7 values. If you want to know what they are, email me. I'll give them to you. TheSalesLife1@gmail.com. TheSalesLife, the number 1 @gmail.com. But I play to the podcast, to the sales life. And then I play to the values. And every single day, I work in that capacity. Consistently, day in and day out, regardless of what today may seem like. I'm not playing to today. I'm playing to an image. That's where I need to be. My YouTube channel? Yes, I have a YouTube channel. I don't know, 200-300 episodes on there. Most of them, probably 50 to 100 of them, have little to no views. None. And some days I'm frustrated. I'm like, nobody's going to get it. Maybe this just isn't for me. I have one side that pulls at me with that. The other side, I'm playing to an image. Playing to an image. And so by the end of the year, 500,000 subscribers. I don't know how it's going to get there. I have no idea. I think I have 50. I don't care. I'm playing to an image. That's what I see. That's what I work toward. Podcast. The podcast has thousands of listens now. But there were times it had 3, and one of them was me. Probably 2 of them. Because I would listen on iTunes, and then I would switch over to Spotify and listen too, so I could get another listen. But that's okay. Because I'm not playing to the immediate results, bro. I'm playing to an image. The sales life. Global. I'll be on that stage. And one day I'll see the vivid picture of myself. Right now it's just a blur. But same thing with weight loss, man. For me, with weight loss, it was the same thing. I had a 34-inch pant was the image of my waist. And when I was almost 280 pounds, it was hard. And I could see it. Barely. But I still played to it. Now I'm in a 34-inch pant. I can see it vividly. It's because I can see the results. I wear the results. Same thing. See where I'm going with this? But dude, in order to get the results, you got to first play to the image. And it's going to be like pulling up a 747 jet that's crashing toward the ground. It's going to be hard to pull up. But keep pulling on it. Keep pulling up. And you're going to turn your whole results around. Every day, I play to an image, not the current immediate results. All right, so let's roll out. Action items of today. Number 1, what image will you play to? You got to swap them images out. And don't get frustrated even though today's results blew up in your face. Every day, man, play to an image. And number 2, what actions will you take? Today, not, I'm going to get to it on Monday. No, today. What image will you work toward today? Or what action? I'm sorry, I'm tripping. What action? I just said that. What image will you, okay, let's clean this up. Number 1, what image will you play to today? Number 2, what actions will you take toward that image today? All right? Remember, never settle. Keep selling your way through life, no matter what. Stay amazing. Stay in the sales life.